Yes, y'all. Peace. It's your boy Dom Plutonian, and I'm back with another video. This video is called Chapter 1, Round 1, First, Second, Third Dimension, Death Realm. So now we about to get into Death Realm, which is the realm we exist on, the third dimensional plane. Realm 1, Realm 2, and Realm 3. On Realm 1, Death Realm. Everything here dies here. Humans die here. Animals die here. Bugs die here. Everything dies here. Plants die here. Everything dies here. Not everything lives here, but everything dies here. So with that being said, to understand the realm that we exist on, this third dimensional plane, we have to understand that when our spirits was cast down from birth and creation realm, which I've been through in another video, purgatory, and then death realm, this is where everything vibrates on a lower animalistic nature, on your lower chakras, which would be Libra through Pisces, 7th through 12th house, which I will get into that. So I'm going to say that for another video. But this world, death realm, which is realm 1, first, second, third dimension, is ruled by the malevolence. Lower vibrations, dark entities, dark spirits, and different malevolent beings that walk and rule this third dimensional plane that we live on. And the reason why they rule it is because even in the Bible, it says that the angel of light, which is Lucifer, which is the devil, was cast down from the heavens to the earth. So most of the spirits that's walking down here are malevolent. They're demonic. They're here to do evil shit, right? Dark work, Lucifer's work, right? And this is why you have to be aware of who you're around, what you entertain, rather if it's music, people, relationships, family, friends, it could be anybody, So you have to watch who you entertain and what you give your energy towards, because with so many different souls out here that's ruled by malevolent energy, they're just here to destroy shit. They're not here to create nothing positive. They're not here to bring peace here. They're not here to vibrate on on a higher frequency. They're here to vibrate on a lower frequency. And that's half the whole world. That's why if you on social media, if you pay attention, most of the things that get the most clicks is either sex, it has to do with 8th house shit, Scorpio shit, sex, people getting killed, people doing drugs, shit like that. That's the type of shit that get the most clicks, not nothing else positive. So that lets you know that this realm that we live in is ruled by malevolence, dark entities, dark spirits, shit like that. And then you have to understand that a lot of people aren't spiritually aware of shit, and they're not conscious enough to pick up on that shit. So, my bad, my phone fell. So with that being said, a lot of people's bodies get hijacked and forced into sunken place because a lot of spirits take over their bodies. And the reason for that is because they open themselves up to malevolent shit, depending on what they watching, what they listening to, what they pay attention to, the people that they entertain, the environments they're in. So you have to be aware of all of that shit. All of that shit matters. And if you're not aware of that, that's how you get spiritually hijacked. If you ever find yourself in a moment where you had no self-control over your anger or just your emotions, period. If you can't take your spirit out of your body and see why I feel this way or why I'm thinking this way, rather if it's negative or positive, then you lack self-control. So then it's easy for dark entities and different spirits to inhabitate your body, you know? And a real magician or a real witch, anybody of that nature, they know how to use those different type of spirits to their advantage to succeed and expand on this third dimensional plane. Like a lot of the celebrities, they'll channel different spirits and stuff, and that's how they do a lot of their acting, or they do different things in order to succeed in life. They understand that shit. A lot of them understand that shit. Don't let their asses fool you. A lot of them understand that shit. In order to fully succeed in the death realm, you have to have mastery over your lower natures, which is Libra through Pisces, 7th through 12th house. Like I said, I'm gonna get to that in another video or something like that, right? So when you don't have control over that, I'm sorry, that's my son crying in the background, y'all. That's my son and my baby mama, okay? But yeah, when you don't have control over your lower natures, you can't control anything that you're trying to manifest. Remember, we talked about manifestation in the other two videos. I talked about gods and goddesses, birth and creation, purgatory, fifth, sixth, and seventh, fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, and all that. If you don't have no control over that, you won't be able to even exist in those different higher realms because you have no control on this realm. Because this is where your lower chakras reside. And it takes self-mastery to do that. And it's hard, but everybody can get through it, you know. So in order to master that, you definitely would have to do a lot of meditation, a lot of self-understanding. You would have to heal a lot of past trauma. You would have to do a lot of shadow work. You would have to literally become your shadow. Embrace your shadow. Embrace your dark side. Embrace your lower natures to really succeed on the death realm. First, second, third dimension. Realm 1, death realm. In order to fully succeed in that, you would have to embrace your lower natures. That's the only way you can conquer it. That's the only way you can conquer it. You have to embrace that shit. So you can't run from yourself. A lot of people run from themselves. They run from their shadow. So it's almost, that's why sometimes you'll see certain people live double lives, or you'll see certain people 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's because that's both of them. You know, both things is what you see is true. Both things you see is true. It's nothing fake. Both things that you see about this person is true. It's just they're not fully embracing their lower natures so they can merge that yin with that yang. The yin, which is the moon, which is your emotions, is governed by your lower natures. The yang, which is the sun, is governed by your higher natures, masculine energy, moon, yin, feminine energy, right? So when you're not embracing your feminine energy, your yin energy, your lower natures, your lower chakras, it's going to be hard to really succeed in this world. Even in the Bible, it said, that the devil was one of the most beautiful angels. The devil isn't going to come to you with horns or looking ugly. The devil's going to come to you with something beautiful, something elegant, something stylish, something classy, something that can really catch your eyes, something that really gets you going. And that's what people have to understand. Like, you have to learn how to tap in that energy of elegance. You have to learn how to tap in that energy of beauty, you know, love, sex, you know, shit like that. Those lower energies, even death, those lower energies, in order to fully succeed in this life, because that's what rule this plane. It's the malevolence, the malevolent energies. I'm not saying be evil. I'm not saying go out here and kill people. I'm not saying go out here and do anything like that. I'm just saying you have to learn how to understand your lower natures, whatever that is for you. Embrace that shit. Heal, do the healing, do the shadow work, heal, and embrace it and merge it with that yang energy so you can actually be one with yourself. That's the only way you're going to be able to master yourself and really rule on the physical plane, on the death realm. It takes self-mastery over your lower chakras. For an example, you see a lot of these people out here shooting up schools, all these shootouts happening, all these rapes, all these murders, all this stuff. A lot of lower nature energy, right? A lot of malevolent energy, right? Rather they being hijacked by demonic forces or malevolent spirits, or rather it's just their lower natures in their own doing. And that's a form of lack of self-control, right? Because if you fully have self-control over your lower natures, you wouldn't go shoot up the school, you wouldn't go shoot this person, you wouldn't rape or stab or do stuff like that, right? You would have full control over your lower natures. The whole goal is to control your lower natures. Because it's a form of karma. It's like a form of whatever that is for you, right? It's a form of negative karma, right? And you embrace that karma and you walk into it and you use it to your advantage to create businesses, create money. For an example, you know how somebody might get shot, right? Or they might have a story where they shot X amount of people, blah, 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 blah. They did their prison bid time or whatever, 25 years of life. They got out on good behavior. Now they changed their life around and now they're a pastor or a preacher or whatever it is, right? That person has made a complete transformation, went through the fire, came out like gold. It's alchemy, which I'm going to get into that on another video. They came out like gold, and now they have full control over their lower natures. And now their lower natures, that yin energy, is balanced with their yang energy, with their higher chakras. So that's why they were able to literally see both sides of the coin in their universe that they created. Yep. It's really just that simple, you know? Controlling them lower natures, controlling your sex drive. That's a lower nature. Controlling your ego, controlling the way people try to manipulate you, not being fazed by what the fuck they say to you, not being moved by when people betray you. You keep it pushing. That's having control over your lower natures, not reacting in the same way that they did, not fighting fire with fire, but fighting with water. Water puts out fire. That's the only way. It's the only way. Everything that is alive on this plane has a spirit. Rather if it's a plant, a bug, a human, an animal, everything here has a spirit. And with that being said, when your spirit is going through different phases of incarnations on the death realm, reincarnations on the death realm, you go through different phases of life. Whether that's a bug, a plant, an animal, or a human. So anybody with a spirit in a human body, clearly our souls expand far enough and a far enough reach in different past lives that we didn't reincarnate into a bug or an animal or a plant, right? So if you're in a human body, this is supposed to be your last phase for real. On this physical plane, there's nothing else higher you can go. You can only go to angelic beings at that point, or different elementals, or different different entities and stuff on different dimensions, right? So, with that being said, control your animalistic natures. Those lower natures are the bugs, plants, animals, literally animals, right? Because once you're in a human body, you're supposed to show God or gods and goddesses in that birth creation realm that you've had self mastery over your lower natures. So now you're trying to reach the heavens. Now you're trying to reach your higher chakras now. So what's after a human? Something higher than that. Something higher than that. Different beings that's higher than that, right? But the only way you're gonna get there is mastering your lower chakras, mastering your lower natures. Accept yourself. That's the first thing. Acceptance. Accept yourself. Accept what you've been through. Accept what you're going through. Then do the work. Then do the shadow work. Know where you are. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with your wrongdoings. Be honest to your shadow. Then embrace your shadow. Use it to your advantage. Make money. Build a career. Do what you need to do. Don't let it pimp you. You need to pimp it. That's having self-control over your lower natures. You don't let your lower natures control you. You gotta pimp that shit. Don't let it pimp you. Use your dark energy to manifest. When you're in a state of manifestation, you either on a white canvas or a black canvas. That's why even the Masons, they use the black and white checkerboards. Their floors, black and white. Why? Because that's yin and yang. Why? Because that's good and evil. You have to use those energies to manifest and attract what you want out of life and what you want to experience. But in order to have really strong, potent manifestations, it's best to tap in that dark energy. And that's why I say you have to have mastery over your lower chakras. Once you have mastery over your lower chakras, you see certain things in your life start to change. It starts to change. Whether that's your finances, your health, your body, your career, maybe the stuff you wear, whatever you do, you know what it is for you, or whatever bad habits that you might have that might be a part of your lower natures that you need to have self-control over. If you know you have a bad smoking habit, that is a part of your lower nature. Then you have to find the starting point on why you're smoking. Heal from that. Embrace your shadow. Heal from that. And then use it to your advantage. And I promise you, something gonna click where you know you can make money off of in some shape or form, in some way. Once you realize, oh shit, I I don't have this bad smoking habit anymore, but I got this habit now, which is a good habit, and now I can fully, really embrace that dark energy in the right way, because it's a yin and yang to every fucking thing you do. Too much good can be bad. Too much bad can be good. You know, if you too evil, people don't want to fuck with you. Nobody want to deal with you. You just an asshole, right? Nobody wants to fuck with you. If you're too nice, people take advantage of you. If you're too giving, people take advantage of you. And that's why you have to master your lower natures. Some people lower natures is just they just too fucking kind. They just too fucking nice. So they get taken advantage of. They get used, manipulated, right? And they get a little game. They go to my channel and get a little game, and you know, then their life change for the better, right? Just master your lower self. Round one, death round. First, second, third dimension. Master your lower self. Master your lower natures. If you know you have a sex addiction, master that shit. Your sexual energy is the most potent energy of manifestation. Once you have full mastery over that, because that's one of the most potent energies on this realm in the world period, in the universe period. Once you have self mastery over some shit like that, ain't no telling what you can attract. Ain't no telling what you can gain. Because your sexual energy is your most potent energy. So if you know you got a sex addiction, are you wrestling with just bad sex habits? You always got an itch. You always got to fuck, whatever, right? You know, just take a fast from it. And you'll see how better you feel. You'll see how energetically you feel. You'll see how people just gravitate towards you easily. At that point, you don't even want to do it. You too busy focused on some whole other shit. You done created some whole other shit just because you mastered that side of yourself. And see, that's why you see a lot of people that have wrestled with that. They're either OnlyFans, sex workers, stuff like that, right? So now they mastered that energy, and now they converted that energy into money. Sorry, y'all, for all the interruptions, but I do have a family, so you know. But you know, that's why a lot of them, it's easy for them to do it, and then they were able to transmute that energy into currency, into money, you know, into dividends, right? That's a form of self mastery too. It is. And like I said, it's a yin and yang to everything, because it's cons to that shit too. It's cons to everything. It's a yin and yang to everything. But that's the world we live in. Have mastery over the death realm. Be able to transform when you know it's time to put death to maybe even your ego, or a way that you act, or a way you perceive the world. You open up more doors and more portals for you to walk into, or for other people to be presented to you, to give you different knowledge and wisdom and understanding. And also possibly, business ventures and all type of shit. That's what the death realm is about. You have to put death to certain stuff. You have to constantly be growing. In order to constantly keep growing is the art of constantly keep dying. You have to constantly keep dying too, to grow. Because you have to evolve. In order to evolve, you have to literally dismiss everything you thought you knew or everything that you were before to become a better version of you, which is putting death to that old version of you. That is the realm we exist in. First, second, third dimension. Realm one, death realm. You got to be able to put death to things. So you can't be too stubborn. You can't be too fixed in your ways. You can't act like you know everything because you don't. Nobody do. I don't. Nobody don't. And you have to be open-minded to see things from not just different angles, but from other people's perspectives. So you can see a full 360 with your third eye. So you have no fucking blind spots with whatever you're doing, or whatever portals and different shit that you walking into to create the world that you want to attract and manifest. But in order to do that, you have to be able to put death to self. Realm one, death realm. First, second, third dimension. 3D plane, 3D realm. Everything here dies. Nothing is not promised here. Nothing is not forever here. Everything here dies. New things start. But in order for new things to start, old things must perish, including yourself. Including yourself. You don't have to literally physically die, but you can die mentally from a mindset. You could die from an emotional stance, from how you felt about something. You could get in the gym, work out, and literally transform your body. That's a form of death. You don't even look the same anymore. You're completely new. That's a form of death. And you have to be able to embrace that shit in order to advance and evolve and experience the certain life or lifestyle that you're trying to create on this third dimensional plane. Because, like I said again, the malevolence rule this plane. So if the malevolence rule this plane, that means evil rules this plane. What is evil forward is love. 428 hertz, love frequency. It's just heads and tail of the coin, yin and yang of the coin, but it's the same coin. They coexist together because they are the same. You can't have love without evil. So there's love in the world, there's peace in the world, but there's evil in the world, there's hatred in the world. It's both. Embrace your lower natures. Heal from your lower natures. Evolve. Put death to yourself to expand and grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and financially. Always be learning new things. And when you're in a consistent phase of learning new things, that means you're constantly putting death to the old things you thought you knew, because you're advancing and you're tweaking the old versions of yourself to perfection, to a godlike state in a godlike form. That's the whole point to this shit. Gods live like gods. Goddesses live like goddesses. They don't live like peasants. We are not here to live check to check. We're not here to live, dollar for dollar or whatever, you know. We're not here to live like that. Nobody is. I'm not, y'all not. We're all great in our own unique ways. And we all have our dark animalistic natures in our own unique ways. Some similar, some different. But in order for you to fully have control of the things that you're creating on this death realm, realm one, first, second, third dimensional plane, you have to have self control over your lower chakras, over your lower natures. That's the only way. That's the only way you're going to reach your higher chakras. That's the only way you're going to be able to activate them. You have to have full control over these, over your lower chakras, over your lower natures. That takes a lot of healing, a lot of self reflection, a lot of sitting in a room by yourself, getting to know yourself all over again, because you thought you knew yourself, but you didn't fully know yourself because you didn't embrace who you truly were in the first place. So technically, you didn't know yourself. So then once you embrace that lower self of you, and then you embrace the positive things about you, which all of them can be positive, all of them can be negative too. Like I said, it's a yin and yang to everything. But when you embrace both polarities of yourself, that yin and that yang, that dark energy and that light energy, it's easier to create and attract the world that you want to manifest. You are the God and the goddess of your experiences, from your thoughts, your feelings, your moods, and how you move in this world will dictate what outcomes that you manifest. Control your lower chakras, embrace your lower natures, and be one with self. This your boy Dom Plutonian. This video is round one, death round, first, second, third dimension. And I'm out, y'all. Peace.